RobisBoreds here.
RobisBoreds
Welcome to
here
my humble
too.
home and the third episode of What We Eat. Today I'll be making chocolate almond bark. It is my go-to for when I've been working all day, gaming all day, editing videos all day, and I want something delicious, chocolatey, and something with a little bit of sweetness to it. I am on a keto diet, so anyone who's ever done
You're
keto
fat.
knows that no carbs. No carbs. Trust me, it's a drag. But this recipe uses a little bit of sugar, very minor in the list of ingredients for the whole. And we use something called erythritol, which is an alcohol sugar that your body does not process.
FNR.
So, with that being said, let's get started.
Hanzi cocoa butter, Hershey's cocoa powder, some almonds, Domino confectioners sugar, and Anthony's natural erythritol sweetener that we blend up confectioner style. We're going to add some almonds. Now, I have roasted these already, and if you don't know how to roast almonds, you basically put them in a mixing bowl. Google it.
Add about a teaspoon of oil. I usually use olive oil to it. You can use peanut oil, whatever type of oil you want. You give it a quick toss so that the oil is coating over the entire nut. Then you lay it down on a sheet tray and pop it into the oven at about 350 degrees for approximately 15 minutes or until you get a nice nutty smell in your kitchen.
Mr. Google.
Now, I don't want whole nuts because we're making it kind of thin.
You can just buy sliced almonds.
It's
just cheaper to buy it bulk, whole.
So the majority of them are chopped up. And I find the easiest way is some parchment paper, some baking parchment paper. Lay it down on your
Makes it so nothing sticks. Makes it so you don't have a whole lot to clean up.
Add your nuts to it.
Add your nuts to it. See?
Give it a good spread.
Spread your nuts all over the tray. Now the recipe that I'm doing is going to be more than enough for 2 sheet pans full of chocolate, of delicious chocolate. All right, so we have our pan out. It's actually a bowl. So we got our mixing bowl here. See. I like to use Hanzi Naturals cocoa butter. And basically it's about the same weight of cocoa butter as it is to cocoa powder, and then however much sugar you're adding in. For those of you who don't know, chocolate is what we call an emulsification. Science. And in order for it all to bind correctly, we temper it. And what tempering process is, that's the hardest part of chocolate. It's the most time-consuming raising it up to a certain temperature, dropping it back down to a certain temperature, and then raising it up to a certain temperature. And I'll get a little bit more into that as we start the tempering process. In the meantime, I need to get my cocoa butter as chopped up as I can, and I find that a vegetable grater is I actually use a chef knife for myself, but because it is buttery and slippery, the rinse and vegetable grater, cheese grater is safer. So you can see all of our cocoa butter is pretty chopped up, pretty fine. There are a few lumps in there, but that's fine. You are my people. I don't want you hurt. I want you enjoying chocolate. Buddy. This is what we're going to be using to temper our chocolate. This is your standard kitchen thermometer. It is not a rectal thermometer. So standard the process of tempering chocolate is for dark chocolate, which is what we're making today. We are going to raise it up to between 115 and 120 degrees. You don't want to go over 120 degrees. Then you're going to bring it back down to 82 degrees.
Then you are going to bring it back up to between 87 and 91.
Like 89 degrees.
And like I said, that is for dark chocolate. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this over to the stove where we have our double boiler going away.
Karate chop.
And we're going to get started. It's basically just a pot with a little bit of water on it. You bring the water up. Starts to boil, creating steam. We don't want to do it straight over top of water because that will break the chocolate, pretty much burn it, cause it to separate, and then done, start all over, throw it in the trash.
Never throw it in the trash. We would eat it.
So as you can see, I just put it on there and it's starting to liquefy around the edges there. I get my trusty wooden spoon here and I'm just going to start mixing.
Spit it out already.
Spreading it around. Spreading out the love. This is a surefire way to bring peace and love into the world.
Okay, so once it has started liquefying, you can start to add your confectioner's sugar, or like I am, the combo of confectioner's sugar and confectioner's erythritol. Now you can always add the sugar in afterwards.
Butter is almost all
I just like to
melted.
keep a steady temperature
The rest
when I'm melting it. I don't want it to be
mixture.
too hot, so I added the sugar.
Now I'm going to start adding my cocoa
so
powder
we
in.
maintain the temperature.
Going to get it all incorporated in here. Put a little bit in, mix it up.
Why don't you take the spoon out of the way, dummy? Yeah, good job, Mr. Wizard.
Put that to the side for a minute.
And you want to add a little bit at a
There's
time. You
one
don't want
in.
to add it all in at one time because if not, it gets lumpy. This way is the easiest way to maintain,
We want this to be smooth,
like he said.
not lumpy. We don't want to just dump it all in there. We kind of want to allow it
echo
to
in the room?
incorporate
Christ.
a little bit at a time.
Incorporate. Big words.
Okay. So that's our cocoa powder.
Stir it up.
Now we're going to take its temperature and see what we're working with here.
Is it good? Christ.
Okay, so we're sitting at about 119 degrees.
Take it off.
Which is right where we want it. And I'm going to move it on over to the ice bath.
Now, literally, this is not an ice bath.
On the temperature here.
It's just colder water. You don't want it solidifying on the bottom of your pan, so you don't want it ice cold. You just want it cold enough that you don't have to
116
stand
now.
there for 45 minutes stirring it while it drops down in temperature.
So we're at about 108.
So it's got a little ways to go yet.
Okay, so we're sitting at about 82 degrees.
And always remember, cleanliness.
Moving on back to the bath.
Keep your work area clean.
I'm gonna stir it until we
Keeps
get
you
it back
healthy.
up to between 87, 92 degrees. Now we're just gonna pour our chocolate.
Just kind of half and half it. Eyeball it up. Doesn't have to be perfect. We're not about being perfect here. Yes, we are. RobisBoreds is freaking perfect.
And we're just gonna mix everything in. Mix it all up together.
We'll use the big word incorporate it all because we like that word. Make sure everything's incorporated together, combined. And then you just let it cool until it's not as liquidy as it is, and then I usually pop it in the refrigerator, and that's where I store it. Once it's nice and firm, just break it up into little bark size pieces, and you're good to go. This recipe, based on what it has, is approximately for a 2" by 2" square. So 2" by 2". It is approximately 4 carbohydrates. Just so anybody else out there keeping track knows how many carbs they're getting.
Calories than you
it's about
should
1.5 from the sugar, and the rest is the almond. Okay? Enjoy.